Am I the asshole for not wanting my boyfriend to play Warhammer anymore? At least for the time being. I, 22 female, honestly haven't ever been resentful of his love for tabletop games. He's actually the reason I'm into tabletop games now as well, but I can't help but feel like playing Warhammer has skewed his priorities lately. I recently called him out on spending hours and hours researching Warhammer stuff, but not a single thing about engagement rings, as I calmly talked to him several times for the past 3 weeks about him needing to look into rings and engagement in general more seriously, as he told me he's planning to propose before the end of fall 2020. I've planned a wedding before and know how much effort these things require. He insisted each time he would start and never did. A near breakup later, and he's now taking me and the impending engagement seriously. Today, he drove me to work and picked me up for a lunch date. When he dropped me back off at the office, I told him to let me know what his plans were regarding picking me back up, since I knew he'd be playing Warhammer. I know that games don't have a set duration, so I just wanted a heads up if I should plan to work a little longer. My day ends at 5:30, and since I hadn't heard from him all afternoon, I assumed he was picking me up at the same time still. I text him at 5:28 p.m. asking if he's already here. No answer. I call, and he tells me he's just now leaving. On a good day, this place is at least 20 minutes away from my office. So I'm annoyed. He's running late and also hasn't offered an apology. When his parents visited for MLK weekend, he left for 6+ hours to play Warhammer. His parents and I just stayed in the apartment doing nothing. They didn't even want to go out. They just wanted to spend time with their son. So yeah, you were probably hurt that they used a holiday to visit a son who disappeared a good chunk of the day. Not to mention, we waited for him to have dinner, and it was nearly 9 p.m. when he got home. So yeah, no one was particularly happy with him. I'm really fed up with how Warhammer's basically pushed his relationships to the back burner. Am I the asshole if I don't want him playing anymore? Everyone sucks here. He is definitely overplaying the game, and it was shit of him to disappear on his parents. Also, the fact he didn't warn you he would be late for picking you up. You are slightly in the wrong here for demanding he focus on an engagement that hasn't even happened yet. He's not even planning your wedding, right? He's just planning the proposal. This comes across like you are a bit entitled. Also, he did drop you off and later take you for lunch, which is a sweet gesture. Don't take that for granted. Everyone sucks here. It sounds like boyfriend is avoiding something and using Warhammer as a means to, or he may just be losing track of time when he's gaming. It's not really fair to try and ban him from doing what he enjoys. It'd be better if he found a way to make sure he keeps track of time, whether this is alarms, you calling him 30 minutes before he needs to stop playing, etc. He's the asshole because he pretty much ditched his parents while they were visiting. But I think you're being a bit critical of him. It's still February, and if he wants to propose to you by the fall of 2020, he has plenty of time. I also think it's a bit odd that you're bringing it up in a fairly small time span. You're the asshole. Your priorities are skewed. It is a shame you are putting so much focus into him looking into engagement rings. Drop it and let him enjoy his hobby. Not the asshole. Hobbies are fine, but when they cross the line into affecting your relationships with friends and loved ones, that's an addiction. As someone who has similar hobbies, he has a problem and needs to seek help for it. You're the asshole. You sound rather entitled. He dropped you to work, got you for lunch, dropped you back, but because he didn't pick you up as he was spending some of his day off on himself, there's a problem? Soft, not the asshole. I dated a girl I met through WoW and eventually had to admit that she was more hardcore than I was. When the game or hobby is interfering with life or the relationship, there is a problem that needs to be addressed. Playing less often would be a reasonable expectation. Reddit has deemed that everyone sucks in this situation. So as someone who has a significant other that is really into Warhammer since day one of a relationship, and now I'm into it, of course, I feel like I have some personal thoughts on this. So reading this, I 100% agree that everyone sucks here. The boyfriend, the girlfriend, they both suck. The only ones that aren't assholes are the parents. I feel bad. He should consider their time as well as their effort to come out and see him. Do we know the full story? Of course not. But what we can gather here is she is quite pushy on the engagement, and he may be quite fresh into Warhammer. And if you know anything about Warhammer, it is almost like a tar pit of there's the hobbying, there is the gaming, there is the Warhammer community, there's the meta chasing, there's the memes, there's everything with Warhammer, and there's so much you can just get engulfed by it. He's probably just really excited, or as she kind of gave the hint in the story, and it says right here, I recently called him out for spending hours and hours. But she's not having a proper conversation with this fellow. We all know if someone's yelling at you like a parent, you're bound to just kind of tune out, and I'm sure that's what he's doing, and he's using the gaming to escape, and it's his escapism from the reality of being called out. If you feel like your significant other plays way too much Warhammer, I would just consider having a conversation with the person. Getting into the relationship I always took the consideration to make sure that they had a hobby space and that he had time, and also encouraged him to take the time to do his hobby. I'm fully aware that someone else's time in life should not be 100% devoted to me, and that personal and alone time is so vital for each other. And that's why it was very encouraging for him to keep going with Warhammer, for it to be good for his mental health. Now, like I said, I agree, everyone sucks. It's just my two thoughts. Nothing original, but if you guys were wondering how I was thinking, those were some Snurgle thoughts. That was Am I the Asshole Warhammer? If you like this content, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. If you have any stories, please feel free to email me. More information in the description down below. Thank you, and Papa bless.